So let's take a look at this percent mass or mass percent. So sometimes they'll write like this, percent M. Sometimes they'll call this the empirical elemental analysis, sorry. In which they'll give you the percent of each element in a compound. Now the reason they like percent, because percent doesn't depend on the amount of sample. So say I had this is actually hydrogen peroxide. Say I had 5 grams of hydrogen peroxide or 0.1 gram. The mass percent stays consistent. So a lot of times, in fact, whenever you make a new compound, you have to report, they call it elemental analysis, which is just essentially the mass percent, the percent of each element in that compound. So in this case right here, I have hydrogen peroxide, and I want to determine the percent of hydrogen and the percent of oxygen in there. The way we're going to do this is based on the molar mass. So in this formula right here, I have 2 hydrogens plus 2 oxygens. So it's just like determine molar mass. So in this case, I like to work them out separately. So 2 hydrogens, each with a molar mass of 1.01. That's going to give me 2.02 grams per mole. I do the same with the oxygen. That's 32. So it's 34.02 grams per mole. That's the molar mass. To get the percent of hydrogen, I get the molar mass due to hydrogen, which is 2.02. So I add both the hydrogens together. Divided by the molar mass of the compound times 100. So if I do that, I'm going to get 95.938%. So that's the percent of hydrogen in hydrogen peroxide. Do the same for oxygen. So the percent of oxygen now. Molar mass of oxygen. Divided by the molar mass of the compound times 100. In this case, this is a 94. So 94.06%. So the percent of oxygen there is 94.06%. And again, it doesn't depend on the size of the sample. If it's 5 grams of hydrogen peroxide, 1 gram, the percentages are going to be the same. Let's look at a second one. This is Fe2O3, iron 3 oxide. This is actually rust. I want to figure out the percent of iron and the percent of oxygen in there. So basically we do the same thing. I got 2 irons. I'm going to add 2 of the 3 oxygens. And again, when I do percent mass, I like to work it out. So my molar mass due to iron is 111.7 grams per mole. To the oxygen is 48.00 grams per mole. To get the percent of iron now, just take the molar mass of the iron divided by the molar mass of the compound. So the percent of iron now is going to be 69.94%. We normally like to have 4 significant figures for the mass percent. And then we do the same for oxygen. For oxygen, you can do it 2 different ways. You can divide it by 48 divided by 159.70. Since there's only 2 compounds in there, you could just divide or subtract 69.94 divided by 100. So it would end up being the same thing. So if I do that, I'm going to get 30.06%. And again, mass percent or elemental analysis is important. Anytime you make a new compound, you have to report the mass percent. Again, doesn't depend on the amount of sample.